welcome back to part 2 of our 10-year blogging journey recap. In part 1, we kind of recapped like the 10 years, why we started the blog, and our favorite blog post of all time that we did. And now we are going to touch on some other favorites. So our favorite series, we always liked doing series, I mean even on this channel, like we do 5 weekly favorites. We like doing a series because I feel like it holds us accountable to like keep doing it, and it kind of helps with like content ideas. And back then, and still, we loved bakeries, baked goods, and living in LA, we have access to like so many amazing bake shops. So we decided to start this Sweet Eats series on our blog where we would take our like actual DSLR camera to these bakeries, and we would photograph the like pastries that we buy. We'd photograph the interior. We would be in the pictures, and it was so fun. So fun. And I feel like we always asked when we would go in there like if we could shoot photos, and no one ever said no. And they're some of my favorite photos. Me too. Like, we did such a good job taking them and editing them, and we were going to be going to these places anyways. Exactly. I think that's how we figured out, like we were going to Milk Jar all the time. Yeah. And all these like Sprinkles and all these places, and we were like, why don't we just take photos and get content? Yeah. It was such a good decision. It made it extra fun to like go and experience a new place. Yeah. And we would write our reviews in the blog post too. Yeah, and we would say like which pastries we recommend that you get. Like we did Jenny's ice cream, which we love, and like since we would go there so often, we like definitely had our favorites picked out, so we would recommend those. And I want to remind you that this was before like the carousel feature on Instagram. Like you could only post one picture. So it was kind of like now we could go to our favorite bakery and take them and do like a carousel on Instagram, which is nice. But this was just a way where we could kind of like photo dump all these like really nice images that we like edited really well, and write a review. So it's kind of like everything in one. Okay, our other series we did that was so long-standing, I think even longer. Well, we still technically do it, but now on Instagram. I was gonna say, we still do it, but even on our blog, it was longer standing than the Sweet Eats. But it's one piece, two ways. So we had this idea because we are asked so often if we share clothes, and we're always like, no, we don't, because we just don't like to share because we grew up sharing. And but we have the same style, so we end up buying, we have the same sweatpants on right now. Yeah. We end up buying the same thing, and people think it's weird, but we've always done this. And so we were like, why don't we style our like a piece of clothing the same and post one on our blog? Yeah. So we started doing that like years ago, and it's been so fun because again, we already had these clothing pieces, and we also do have like a different styles. Yeah. Like Britta's a little more put together, I'm a little more casual, and so it's always been fun to like, okay, like we'll both go in our rooms like, okay, this is the clothing we're gonna shoot today. Yeah. Like we'll just style it and then come out and be like, okay, we look great. And then we like go outside and take the photos. And when we first started this, we actually, we didn't live in a house that had like a good neighborhood to take photos. So we would like drive around LA. Yeah. And take really cute photos. And so we have some great photos from like the earlier days. And even the more recent ones are cute, they're just in our neighborhood, so they're not as like city-like. Yeah, and just one thing I will mention, in general, I'm kind of over iPhone photography. Like I really miss the crisp and like the quality that like a Canon or like a DSLR. Yeah, a lot of people's iPhone photos look good, and I don't know how you're doing it because ours never do, and they never have all of them. Yeah. I think the trend right now is you see all those TikToks of girls that are like, my iPhone photographs versus my digital camera, like the Canon G7X. And that's not even as nice as like the Canon that we film these videos on, but it's way better than an iPhone, and the before and after is insane. Like cameras, in my opinion, just do take better photos. Yeah. I do think the iPhone video has come a really long way. Yeah, and we still, like, our dream is to have a mirrorless camera. Yeah. We don't. Like, our camera's pretty old now. Yeah, but it does the job, and it's a good camera. But yeah, in general, like, looking back at these blog posts and like our one piece, two ways, and I just miss like the quality that a camera, but then it's so much work to like take a big camera out and about in LA and go shoot, but we could do it. I mean, at the end of this, we have some questions for you, but I love those posts. Okay, through blogging, we have gotten so many opportunities, like probably even more than our Instagram. Well, we've gotten a lot of opportunities through Instagram and YouTube as well. Yeah. But blogging, because we started so long ago and we were really like early on some of the trends, we got great opportunities. So one of the things we talked about, we were invited to a lot of blogger events, but the Culver City this is the Culver City Hotel one,
Yeah.
right? Culver City Hotel blogger brunch. They did this around the holidays. I don't even know, 2016? Yeah, it was a long time ago, but it was like a Christmas themed brunch at the Culver Hotel, which if you've never been, it's like this really old, like vintagey, beautiful, historic hotel. And we sat down and ate brunch, and then they gave us a tour. It was so fun. It was so fun. Yeah, that was one of our early like vlogging. It was like the OG influencer events. Like before they were like a real thing. They weren't a thing. So it was like very cool that we got to do this. And then the pie hole. We did a few things with the pie hole, which was also a dream come true. So we had loved the pie hole because it's pie and it's good. And they had opened one close to us, and I think that we had posted about it. Yeah, we took our camera there and did pictures. Yes, we did. Oh, we did like a sweet eats. Yeah, we did a sweet eats there, and then I think we had sent it to them somehow, like when we were talking to someone of the employees. I can't remember. We like know that they saw it. Yeah, they saw the sweet eats we did, and we're like, oh, thanks so much. Like, and then on National Apple Pie Day, they reached out to us on Instagram, and we're like, we know you're fans of our pie. Like, can we send you apple pie? And you can post about it or whatever. And we're like, yeah. We were both at work, and I think my boyfriend was home at the time. They delivered like 5 apple pies. They delivered all these apple pies to our door, and we were like in shock. We should actually put this on the sitcom doc. We thought they were sending like 1 apple pie. I think they sent 4. Yeah. And we were just shocked and happy. Up to our knees in apple pie. In the freezer. And we were like, this is so cool. Like, we got apple pie. But it's still so cool. Like, if someone today, it was caramel apple pie. Yes, it was if someone today was like, I'm gonna send you apple pie, we'd be like, go for it, awesome. Like, the dream come true. Yeah, it was. I mean, so great. And I will never forget either. So we used to go to the Americana every Friday. This was probably back in like 2018, 2019. Mm-hmm. We used to go every Friday to do returns. Our coworkers would make fun of us that we had this routine. And we would always go to the pie hole and get the pie holes, the like little mini pies. Yeah. And I remember we posted about it so often that they DM'd us once and were like, oh, come by for some like free pie holes. And we were like, that's it. We've made it. Yeah. We're getting free. Then like close that down, and I actually am just remembering it now because that was the best sweet treat at them all. It was so good. The Americana is still our favorite place in this city. Yeah. We're going tomorrow. Yeah. And we would love going and getting those. We need another little treat there. So now we just get the expensive cookie at and all like the berry ones were the best. Like they had like a raspberry or strawberry. So good. Blueberry. We didn't like the chocolate. They had a pumpkin during seasonal. Yeah, they were so good. They were so good. I mean, they still make them. They just the Arts District one is the only one, right? They ended up closing a lot of their locations during COVID, like they did at the Americana. Now that is a Cinnabon, but like no one wants to get a full Cinnabon all the time. Yeah, but so lame. Yeah. But then we also went. They invited us to their Arts District location for an event like a few years ago. They invited all these food bloggers, and we were like invited, and so we thought that was so cool. And we got so much free stuff. We got to like try all the flavors there, take photos. We met some other people that were really nice, and it was one of those things like you came and you went, like you got to like taste everything. They had like coffee for us. Yeah, it was because they launched their chocolate covered strawberry pie for Valentine's Day. Yeah, and then we got to take home so much pie. Yeah. And so those are some of our favorite opportunities. And then these kind of happened back to back, but again, like this is kind of when we transitioned more into like beauty. We were on YouTube, and we were invited to go to the opening of the Century City Sephora at the Century City. This was a while ago. It was like in 2016. No, maybe like 17, maybe 2017. And we were invited to their opening, and I remember we were in line behind Becca Tilley, and we were like, oh my gosh, because I think she had just been on The Bachelor. So yeah, we were invited to the opening, and they gave everyone that attended like a gift card. I think it was for $100. It was $100, and we think this was in 2016 or maybe 2017. Yeah, I'm trying to scroll back on Instagram. It was after the Culver City brunch, but before all the pie hole stuff we did. Yeah, and it's so funny because we were thinking of what to film today, and I was like, oh, maybe we should look back on like our June 27. Oh, it was 2017. Okay, our June 2017 favorites, and I clicked on it and I realized that that was the first time I tried the Bare Minerals Invisible Bronzer, which I won't shut up about ever. And
we both remember what we bought.
Yeah, I got that, and then we both got the Anastasia Modern Renaissance eyeshadow palette.
And I got the Hourglass bronzer in Luminous Bronze Light, which I still have, and I don't think it's like bad, but I try not to use it because that block like lasts forever.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, we couldn't afford any of this stuff back then.
We wanted the eyeshadow palette so bad, and we were so broke that we couldn't buy it. So when we got invited to that event, we were like, that is so cool. And it was one of the first Sephora's that had like the fragrance wall where you would like, it was that activation where you would like type in the fragrance you wanted and it blew out the notes at you. It was very cool. The whole thing was
here's the picture. So it was May 2017.
Yeah, there was a little like red carpet situation,
like step and repeat.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Okay, and then some opportunities that we got from blogging, like we already mentioned some of them. Like we mentioned in our first video that Snapchat featured us, and so we got a lot of followers from that and like recognition, and that was very cool. And then I'm gonna start from the bottom up. This is wild, and we realized even our best friend didn't know this until the other day. But being in LA, we have been like approached for TV and like been in final stages for different shows, like,
but usually they were like twin related shows.
Yeah, there was like a twin like game show type thing that we almost made it onto, and we had a lot of in-depth. We can do a whole video on that if you want to. There's like a whole process. But we were approached after someone saw our vlog by, it was Bravo.
It was Bravo, I think.
We think it was Bravo.
A Bravo producer.
Yeah, Bravo producer, to like have a show based on us. Like,
well, I don't think it wasn't like a hard and fast concept, but they were gauging interest.
Gauging interest to see like if we could bring in an audience. Like we were at the time, this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
We want to say like 2015,
yeah,
maybe 2016.
2015 or 16.
We were really young, and they thought that we were just these like wild twins.
I wonder if I could like find the email.
I know. I never delete emails. I'm sure I have it. Like wild twins living in LA, and so they interviewed us, and they like it was an like a Zoom interview. At the time, it was Skype, and they like liked us, and they were like, okay, like we told them like, well, we live with 2 other girls, and then my boyfriend, and then Britta has a boyfriend, doesn't live with us, but whole situation. They were like, okay, we'd love to like interview the boyfriends next. It's so funny. And so then they interviewed James and Tommy, and they both just like blew this. But like we were never gonna do a show like this. Like
we weren't interesting enough.
Yeah, it's not our personality, but they basically it's so funny, we were recently talking about this. This is why we brought it up to our best friend, and she's like, I'm dying laughing, I never knew about this. So they both have a funny story. Like Tommy, just gets really nervous in general, and he said during his call that he was holding his like phone because he was at work trying to do this call, and he was like shaking so much because he was so nervous, and they were like, sir, can you like prop your phone up on something? I think it's like shaking a lot. And then they asked them both, like, oh, have you ever, like, basically, like thought about or, like, hooked up with the other twin?
Yeah,
like and then they asked James, like, what drama? It's so funny. They asked James, my boyfriend, what drama, like, was going on in the house. And
because we lived with 2 other girls.
Yeah, and they wanted the deets to see if this could be a show. And he was like, well... so funny. He was like, well, I can't even get out. This was the actual drama. It's not what they were looking for. He said like, well, we have a 2-car garage. And we have 4 cars, and we can't fit them all. Oh my god, I can't breathe. No, it's okay. So like, yeah, he basically was like, well, we have a 2-car garage, and we have 4 cars, and we can't fit them all. We have 5 when Tommy comes up, and so like we have to park outside our garage, and then our neighbor gets really mad at us because he can't get back out.
It was a whole thing though, because the townhouse garages like face each other.
Yeah.
And our neighbors across the way, their son would park outside the garage door, and then we would also park outside the garage door. And then they would leave us passive-aggressive notes on our cars, being like, move your car. And we're like, move your car. Like, it was a whole thing. And the biggest thing was that they didn't use their garage for their cars because they like hoarded stuff. Yeah. So that's why they didn't have room for their cars. Yeah. But we were like, just fix. Anyway. It was actual drama, but not what they were asking for. And Tommy said some other stuff too, like just like, oh, you know, everything's fine. Like, yeah, we've been together. Like, everything's strong. You know, just being honest. And we're really glad that we were all honest because, like we said, we wouldn't have been made for a show like that. But needless to say, they never reached out again. That was the end of that. Yeah. Okay, we'll go through the rest of these pretty quick, but the Who What Wear gifting suites, we were invited to these, and we've loved Who What Wear, the blog, since the beginning. We are still such a fans of Hillary and Catherine, and it was so cool. We were invited to come and like pick out some like clothes. Well, the coolest part was the Who What Wear collection because they were at Target. Yeah. And so we got to pick out like a few pieces from the collection. So basically it was like PR from Target almost. Yeah. Which is like a dream come true. Yeah, that was so cool. So everything we got to do through them was awesome, and I think they found us through our blog. Yeah, and then we also did a blog post, a sponsored blog post with Decenio. If you guys are familiar with them, they do like prints. They're still pretty big, and I think they're based in Australia if I'm not mistaken. But back then they were a lot less like known, and they had reached out to us about doing a sponsored post on our blog, and so they gifted us, it's actually these frames we still have. We want to like redo this. These prints aren't by them now. They gifted us all the frames, the prints, and then they gave us a budget to like redo our living room. And at the time we had just moved to our like very modern apartment in Hollywood. It was super well lit, and again, like it was really high up. It was like 5 floors up. Yeah, it was high up, and we didn't really have that much furniture, and so we were able to get some like throw pillows, blankets. I think we got like some candles, and we just made it like more cozy, and that was so cool to be able to like work with a brand and also like add some more things to our home. It was really cool. And then last is the Bite Beauty Lip Lab. So we were planning a trip to New York in 2017, which is wild that it's been that long. And we were like, why don't we just reach out to them and see if we could like go to the lip lab? Because at the time they didn't have one in LA, which is so crazy. And then now they're all closed. Like, it's so wild. Well, no, lip lab is a thing, but it's just not associated with Bite but anymore. They closed a lot of them, like a lot of the ones in LA. Yeah. But we reached out to them. We're like, hey, like, we're coming to New York. We'd love to like take photos and like, I don't know, collab in some way. And they were like, yeah, we'd love to have you. You can each come in and create 2 lipsticks and like take your photos. And we did the blog post, and we got it for the whole experience for free. Yeah. And again, at the time, like, we were not making good money, and it was just so cool because it would have been something we would have loved to do anyway. Yeah. And but couldn't really afford it, especially 2 each. Even cooler now because Bite is no more. Yeah, like, I still have them. Yeah, so I still have them too. And I like one of our fondest memories of that trip and in general. Yeah, I remember we were staying in the West Village, which is our favorite part of all of New York, and we walked to the location because it was in the West Village, and we felt like New Yorkers. Like, we were walking there, we did the thing, and then we walked and met our boyfriends for lunch at like this cute little cafe, and I was like, this is living. Yeah, it was so fun. Great memory. Okay, now we want to touch on some of our proudest accomplishments. So they're kind of tied into like opportunities, but the things we're most proud of. I would say the thing that I'm still the most proud of with blogging is being selected by A Beautiful Mess to be like one of their contracted writers. Did we apply or did they reach out? We applied. I think they were looking for writers because they obviously are busy. They would post back then. They would post every day. This was probably back in 2017. Okay, yeah, it was February 2017 that we did our first blog post for them. Yeah, so we applied to be writers for their blog because, like we said, we were inspired by them to even start our blog. We've always loved them. It was huge when they were even doing this, like announcing that they were adding contributors. Because they had a few staff members. But at the time, they posted literally every day, I think a few times a day. So they had lots of blog posts. So it made sense that they needed other people. So it was kind of the same thing with Danny. Like, we would send them our ideas, and then they would pick which ideas they wanted to proceed with, and we would get paid like per post. And then we put them on their blog, and then we could also put them on our blog. And it was a dream come true. It was a dream. I remember when we applied, we were like after work, we were like, like in your room, like filling out the application, and we're like, oh, we're like never. It was actually the one time I feel like we weren't doing good at manifesting, and we were like, oh, we're never gonna get this.
Yeah.
Like this is never gonna happen. And then it was months later, and I remember I was working at Ipsy at the time, and I don't remember you were working.
Yeah.
But I saw the email come in that we had gotten it, and I like had to read it 3 times. Like I was like, no way. Like I was like, this is not happening. And I texted Britta. I was like, did you see the email? And I remember like leaving work and just being so elated. Like that sticks with me. It's one of my happiest memories ever.
Yeah.
Just feeling like so proud. And we only did it for a few months. It wasn't like they really were looking for like DIY content creators. And that was just at that time we had moved so much away from that. So I feel like it wasn't like a long-term fit.
Yeah, it wasn't like a great fit, ultimately, but we were so proud, and still to this day, and A Beautiful Mess is the only blog that I look at regularly, and I listen to their podcast every Monday. I love them both so much still. We love and respect everything they do. Another great achievement, and this happened so early on, but the last semester of college, they were doing this, they did it every year, but like these journalism awards. And so in our School of Journalism at Cal State Long Beach, like the professors would sort of like, there was like 4 awards maybe, that they would like talk about who they wanted to gift these awards to. And Britt and I, we've talked about this many times, but we worked full-time in San Diego, so 5 days a week, and then the other 2 days we would drive to Long Beach to go to school. So we packed our classes to just have those 2 days, top to bottom. So the day these awards were a day we were working, so it's not like we were working in San Diego, so we couldn't just be there. So we were like, oh, we can't go, but like, it sounds cool. And then we were like getting all these messages of people being like, congrats, congrats. We're like, what? And our sweet professor, who we still love, Carla Yarbrough, she was incredible. She gave us like this, it was like promise for
digital journalism award. And like I said, they only gave out like 3 or 4 awards the whole day, and we were one of them. And we were so, like she said, our blog was so impressive. And,
and then she showed our blog to the class. Do you remember that?
Then in the class we have with her, she was like, I want to show everyone, and like they got this award, because I think she gave it to us in the class because we couldn't be at the awards ceremony. And that was so unexpected, because we had heard about this award thing. We're like, oh, whatever, and like had no idea this was going to be given to us. And it would have that happen so early on. Like we said, that was in 2014, right before we graduated college. Gave us like a lot of confidence, like, oh, we're doing something right. Like maybe we would have quit earlier if
that's true,
if she didn't give us that. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. We know that this video and the one before were super chatty, but we just wanted to reminisce. We really just want to talk about it, because we never do, on 10 years of Twinspiration. And we want to ask you if there is anything, like if you look through the blog posts that we're linking down below and there's anything that you really like or that you want to see, like we can bring it back, because now we have more time, and we are still trying to be more active on the blog because it brings us joy, and we are all about joy these days. So if you like our Sweet Eat series, or like our One Piece 2 Ways, or if you want to see like recipes, because we only want to like put effort into it and like take out our camera and really get back into it if you guys want to see it, really. Because right now it's very low effort, but when we get back into it, we want it to be like a good thing. But it does take time. So let us know like what you'd actually be interested in like reading, and just anything blog related.